How is it that a millionaire can go broke and be back rich in 6 months to a year, but you got people, everyday people, that could barely scratch $40,000 to $50,000 a year, right? That's the crazy part. It all comes down to information. The Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. That can be applied to so many different things. The only reason why most of y'all not where y'all want to be, you don't have the knowledge, right? Or you do got it, you're not applying the knowledge that you got, right? So we got to fix that. I can literally take somebody from working at McDonald's and have them 6 figures to a millionaire within 2 years, if not less, knowing what I know now. I could literally go broke today and be right back up where I am because I know what I know. And I want to teach you what I know. You feel me? So there's a couple different skills you need to have. Number one, you need to learn how to manage money, right? A lot of people, you don't have a money issue. You have a management issue, right? You're not managing the money that you got. You know, most people, and this was including myself, that's why I'm able to tell y'all, most people don't write down all their bills and all their expenses, right? And they don't even know how much they have left over afterwards. Like they never actually write it down, right? And calculate everything, subscriptions, Netflix, all that, write that stuff down, all of it on a piece of paper, right? I wrote all my stuff down one day and found out we was spending $40,000 a month, like collectively on expenses. I said, okay, now we gotta cut this stuff down. You know what I'm saying? Cause that's way too high. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have management, right? Because if you don't know how to manage money, you're not gonna have a lot of it, or you will get a lot and lose a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that most people got. You gotta learn how to allocate money to certain things. And what I realized too, most people don't even pay themselves, right? Every check you get from your job, now this is me, Christian based, I always first give my tithes and offering, of course, that's me. But after that, I pay myself. And then everything else gets taken care of. Why are you not paying yourself? You work hard all day long, right? You gotta pay yourself. Sometimes you might have to cut out a lot of stuff that you like to do for season, right? You might have to cut off, cable. You might have to cut off DoorDashing all the time. You feel me? That was my Achilles heel, my weakness. DoorDash, be DoorDashing like a mother. My wife cooked, had a chef, and was still DoorDashing. What's wrong with me? But look, sometimes you gotta cut some of that stuff off, right? Hanging out with the homies and friends and girlfriends and all that. It might not be your season right now. It's okay to duck off for a little while and then pop up later. You know what I'm saying? That the people still gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? They don't still be doing the same stuff. So take some time off, go in the wilderness for a while, go in hiding for a while, and then pop out later when it's time to shine. You know what I'm saying? So they got time management down. This is what most millionaires got. They got money management down. They got time management down. How are you allocating your time, right? Even those of you who do have a job, after work, do you even have a plan after work? Or you just like, I'm gonna come home and lay down and watch TV because I'm tired, right? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Because it's not for everybody, right? Sometimes being an entrepreneur is worse than having a job because it's 25/8. It ain't 24/7, it's 25/8. It ain't 8 hours, you know what I'm saying, a day. It's like non-stop, you know what I'm saying? So this brain is constantly going, you're constantly trying to figure things out. But again, if you learn how to manage money early, right? You learn how to allocate your time properly. You learn how to structure your day and say, okay, from this time to this time, I'm gonna do this. After that, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna eat lunch at this time. You know what I'm saying? The same way they did at school. Use that same model in your own life. And I promise you, it'll start getting better and better, right? Another thing, they know how to invest. Rich people know how to invest, right? I've learned over time that investing is one of the best things you could ever do for yourself. The reason why is because you eliminate the time you have to be there. You no longer exchanging time for money. Now you just living and your money is now working for you. This is why I preach credit and learning how to invest with it so much. Why? Whenever you put your money in a bank account, this is what the bank does with our money. We put it in a savings account, they immediately take our money and start trading with it, right? They start investing with our money. That's why if you go to the bank and you ask to pull out $1 million, there's all these procedures and stuff they got to go through, but they'll take it. But when it's time to get it out, oh, they ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? Because they investing in doing mortgages and sending your money out to other people and loaning out to them and stuff like that. It's a lending end, right? They're using our money to invest. So why not use their money to invest? It's the same thing. The only thing you have to learn how to do is have self-control, have discipline, and have a plan, right? You master these 3 things, you will eat, right? Now, you need to not just have a plan for making the money, but have a plan if you lose the money, right? Because some people don't like thinking about that. It's like, oh, I only got a plan A, no plan B. I get that for certain situations, but you need both, because let's say you use your money to trade Forex and you put $1,000 in and you blow it. Now what? All right, now you gotta have a plan. Okay, before then, okay, if I blow it, I'm gonna do velocity banking to pay that back, and then I can reuse the money. Boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? That's just a little nugget. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? That's what I learned, and that's why it's so easy for me to constantly keep doing what I want to do, because I know certain things, right? So another thing a lot of wealthy people understand is velocity banking. You know what I'm saying? And infinite banking, right? Infinite banking is when you use a life insurance policy, right? A whole life, not term. You can have both, which I recommend, but whole life insurance policies is when you are paying a premium each month, and that's called cash value, right? That's building up like a savings account, but it's tax-free, right? So as that's building up, you can then borrow against it. The reason why you want to borrow against it, so it'll be tax-free, because you cannot tax debt. All right, that's another note. You cannot tax debt. So the reason when that is building up in your cash value life insurance, so let's say you put $1,000 a month in there, boom, it's building up. Then you can then borrow from that tax-free, do whatever you need to do. And then let's just say something goes wrong with whatever you use that money for. You do not have to pay that life insurance policy back. That's the dopest thing. Another dope thing about it is you don't have to have a credit check. You don't got to go talk to loan people. You don't have to do none of that. It's your own bank, right? That's why it's called infinite banking. That's a whole life insurance policy, right? Look into it, IULs, all that kind of stuff. But wealthy people and rich people understand it, right? They understand velocity banking, which is using lines of credit to pay down your debt faster, right? Using credit cards or using a personal line of credit or a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, and operating out of that and then paying off your debt faster. So basically you can take chunks from this, pay off this debt, right? Because the interest rate, you got amortized and you got simple, right? A lot of the times the amortized will be lower than the simple interest, but simple interest is clear cut, right? So the amortized, they're front loaded with principal. You don't get that with simple interest, right? So that's why it takes so much longer when you to pay off a house. That's why I said take 30 years to pay off a house, when you really don't. They just front loaded with interest. So the first 7 years on the house, you're paying, first 7 years you're paying interest on your house, right? And I'll never forget, because I used to work at this mortgage company when I was a telemarketer, making like $13 an hour, $12, something like that. But I had a guy called in and he was like, how much do I owe? I had to tell him his balance. He was like, what? He said, man, I've been paying on this house for 10 years, bro. And that's like, I still owe that much? I'm like, yeah, because it's front loaded with principal. So you've been paying principal this whole time. And now you're just now starting to pay the actual loan off. And he was mad in the mug, you feel me? But I figured that out. So I was like, okay. So what velocity banking does is it say, okay, let's take a line of credit or whatever, since that's simple interest, and we take a chunk from there, dump it on the principal, right? And then pay the line of credit back because it's simple interest, right? And if you do 0% interest, it go deep. So you go look that up. But wealthy people understand that kind of stuff. So the dopest part about some of this stuff is, if let's say you have a credit card, right? And let's say, because you don't got to be rich to do nothing I'm telling you right now, right? Let's say you just got to learn how to manage. Let's say you have a $5,000 credit card, right? And you want to go to, I always say Miami, so I'm going to use Mexico. Let's just say Cancun. You want to go to Cancun, right? And the trip costs you about $3,000, right? To go on. Let's say you just want a night. It ain't got to be first class unless you want to. But it could just be a nice seat on the plane, dope Airbnb out there, a nice car rental, and you want to be able to splurge a little bit and have a good time, right? If you calculate all your income, right? Let's say you got bills, expenses, blah, 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 blah. Let's say you calculate all your bills, and after all your bills is paid, you got at least $500 to $1,000 left, right? After all bills are paid. If you calculate your income like that, let's say you pay for the trip, $3,000, right? Then, whenever you get paid, you take all your money and you put that on a credit card. You put that on the credit card. Then you use a website called plastique.com and you can pay your bills from your credit card. Okay, now some credit cards have it, like Navy Federal. I have it to where I can move my money from my credit card directly into my checking account. All credit cards aren't like that, but some of them are, credit unions are. I can directly move money directly out of my card right into my checking. So you could do it like that. But if you can't, you use Plastique, right? And you basically pay, put the money on the credit card, pay all your bills, and leave whatever is usually left over, $500 to $1,000, after all your bills are paid, leave that on the card. That's paying the card down. If you say, okay, well, that only takes me 2 months, right, to pay that card fully back, then you know every 2 months I can spend $3,000 because I know it only take me 2 months to pay back, right? And then you wait 2 months and you go on another trip, and then you do it again, and then every 2 months you can take a trip. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I understand with velocity banking, with infinite banking, stuff like that. I even just heard a guy, shout outs to Marvin. He's one of the dudes on YouTube that teaches velocity banking. I mean, not velocity banking, but infinite banking as well, and like life insurance and stuff like that. I just watched a podcast of his where he said he took $100,000 out of his life insurance policy, right? And he bought a property, right? He bought a real estate property. Then he let the real estate property gain equity. I think it already had equity in it. But he let that gain equity, and then he took the equity out, paid the life insurance back, and now he has tenants moved into the the real estate property, paying the HELOC, the loan back. So it's a whole bunch of stuff that if you don't know, you don't know. And this is the type of information I'm talking about. Like, it get deep. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm always telling people, learn something new every single day, because it's gonna change your life. Write it down, and even if you don't use it right now, have it for later, but make sure you use it for later, right? Because like I said, a lot of us just consume information, but we don't apply it, right? I got so much information on my phone, and it's like a lot of the stuff I haven't even used yet, but I know I will. Some of the stuff is for my kids, right? I'm like the ATM vending machines, like that ain't something I really just care about doing, but I know how to do it. I'm just gonna get that to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm on other stuff. So you gotta learn every single day. Not just learn, apply the information, right? And mentorships, right? Coaching, getting in the right rooms, all that stuff is important, y'all. And I told you before how you could do that. Credit, again, right? Like, learn how to use your credit card to be an asset. Like, people run from credit. So many people are in credit card debt right now because they don't know what they should know. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to get out faster, velocity banking. You know what I'm saying? They don't know, how to invest the money, because the dopest part about this whole thing, and this is how I tell you, I can turn somebody up from McDonald's to 6-7 figures easy, right? Because I know this stuff like the back of my hand. But all these banks, they want to give you millions of dollars. They want to, because they want you to mess the money up so they can continue to get paid. But if you learn how to invest in the right things, right, and you learn how to get in the right rooms, even being seen with a certain person can make you $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many entrepreneurs, and if you learn how to, use this brain that you got to really maneuver your way through this whole situation, you'll make a lot of money, right? I see so many different pop-up shops and meetups and all these different, high-level events that cost like $5,000. Some of them cost $10,000, $15,000, right? But just being in a room in those masterminds, some of them even $2,000, $1,000, whatever. Even being in those rooms and having a video camera, right? A phone, anything that can get you, some B-roll with a Grant Cardone or ET, and a lot of these events, a lot of them don't even cost, especially ETs. I've seen a couple of his events for like $100. That wasn't even that much. Show up to the event, meet them, record the stuff, talk. Do network with people. Like, it's so much you can do that people just don't do. You know what I'm saying? And one of the main things I tell people to do is document your life. Document all of it. Everybody got a story. Trust me, right now, if you're at a job and you plan on quitting in the future, document everything. Set your phone up somewhere while you working. It could be about 5 seconds, 10 seconds. It ain't gotta be long. Right? If they got you sweeping, if they got you mopping, if they got you doing anything, you record all of it. Couple days, right? Because it's gonna tell a story in the end. So when you finally blow up and people don't believe you, because they won't, some people be like, no, They probably think you always had a little paper, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody helped you out. Nah, here's documented proof that I used to work there. You know what I'm saying? This is, you know, what I used to do and blase, right? So I had ended up showing, it was some years back, but I ended up showing my tax return or something. But showing basically I was only making $9 an hour, and I think for the year I only make like 11,000 or something like that for the year. It was crazy. But you gotta document everything, right? Because you need that proof and you need that story, because everybody not gonna believe. You know what I'm saying? When you coming up. And facts tell, stories sell. You know what I'm saying? So when people hear your story, they relate, and you know, they find themselves in the story, and that's what draws people to you. Another thing that wealthy people and rich people understand is that attention is gonna make the money. Whoever gets the most attention wins, right? So not saying you have to do anything immoral. You ain't gotta do, you know what I'm saying, be out showing your body, and I ain't talking about that kind of attention. I'm talking about just being able to cultivate a message and get it out to the world, right? And not being afraid to be seen, not being afraid, you know what I'm saying? Because nowadays, like I say, you don't have to be seen because you got faceless channels and stuff like that. But usually the people that seen the most, it's gonna make the most money. You know what I'm saying? Because that way people know you, like you, trust you, stuff like that. And then on the back end, you can have your faceless channels and doing all that. But just having any sort of, you know, clout, I would say, you know, on the internet or just in life, period, will get you way more money. You know what I'm saying? And just providing valuable information like I'm doing now. You know what I'm saying? Learning a bunch of stuff and teaching a bunch of stuff. Simple as that, right? Okay, now let's talk about this real estate side of things, because this right here is the play that is long-term, right? There's so many plays inside of it. I'm gonna tell you how you can get into real estate without having a lot of money, be just using your credit. You could be a gator lender, right? A gator lender is basically a private money lender on the smaller end of things, right? Somebody who can come in with an extra $1,000, $2,000, and let's say you have a wholesaler and a buyer, but they got like a contract fee, and the wholesaler don't got it, so they might need to step in, pay the $1,000, and then you get a cut, 5% cut or whatever they make. You know what I'm saying? You can structure the deal however you want to, right? So that's another thing that's super dope. That's one way. Another way is being a wholesaler, which you don't gotta own a house, you don't gotta buy a house, you only selling a contract, right? So if you find a house that look nice, I mean, not look nice, let's say it's run down, but it could be investment property. You find that house, you talk to the owner or whatever the case is, you sign that contract, they sign it over to you, you then take that piece of paper and sell it to an actual buyer, an investor, right? If they think the property is good, they see it could be renovated and resold, you sell it to them, you make $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, depending on the deal, right? There's also a thing called subject to real estate, right? Subject to is when somebody can't afford that house, and let's say they got a dope house, let's say it's 3,000 square feet, let's say it's 5,000 square feet, 10,000 square feet, right? Let's say they can't afford it, right? They're about to go into foreclosure, or they're already in the process of foreclosure, right? You can come in, talk to the seller and say, yo, you can't afford these payments, right? I know you don't want this to go on your credit, and this is completely legal, everything I'm telling you, right? I know you don't want this to go on your credit. So what I can do is I can take over your payments, right? Move into the house. I can get you caught up, take over the payments, and then you can go and move somewhere else. The loan will stay in your name, right? But I'm gonna take care of it so that it doesn't affect your credit, and then later I'll refinance you out, and boom. Simple as that. So you don't gotta go to a bank. You don't gotta do no credit checks. You ain't gotta do no tax returns. If they agree, which say a lot of them do, right? You can just move into their house. It's called subject to. Look it up. Pace Morby is like the guy on that. There's a lot of other people who bought dream homes or who bought investment properties. Like sometimes no money down at all. Sometimes you never have to get a credit check. You never have to go to a bank. You never have to go through a loan. None of that stuff. You don't need no credentials, no requirements, never. So it's just, that's another dope one, right? I mean, there's a million plays. Again, you could be a private money lender if you day trade, you do, Forex, binary options, you have credit, you have good credit, you have that. You can be a private money lender for people who need like real estate investment deals and they need capital, they need 25,000 and you got that, in lines of credit or whatever, and you can lend that to them and get a huge return. You know what I'm saying? Once they sell their house, you get your 25,000 back plus an extra 10 to 15,000. You know what I'm saying? So you could be that person in real estate. You don't even gotta own no houses. You just lending money, right? Called to be the lender, not the borrower type of situation. You feel me? So it's a million. I ain't even named all of them. But another one of the dopest things about real estate is that, let's say you buy a property on the low end, right? For, let's say 100,000, right? You buy it cash. Let's just say you getting your money up, right? Now you buy the house cash. You can then do what we call seller financing, right? So instead of selling your house the traditional way, you can seller finance. I mean, you become the bank, right? And you create a note for somebody else, right? This is dope. And a lot of times people do this because, let's say, and you could also do this about your dream house without having to go through a bank and underwriters and all that. Look that up. But you are now becoming the bank because, let's say somebody has okay credit, but it ain't all the way there. They got the money, but their credit just kind of, they got a lot of stuff on their credit from the past or something, but they got good money, right? So they could afford a house, but going through a loan process in the bank, you know, the underwriter's checking everything and all that when you buy the house. So let's say the underwriter's playing, they're like, right. So they're like, okay, well, let me look up some sell by owner. So if you ever go to Zillow and you do for sell by owner instead of, you know, on the traditional, all the people who selling their house finance, they own their house outright. They either paid it off or they bought it in cash, and then they're now gonna seller finance it to you, right? And so you could be the person seller financing it to somebody else who may, you know, have the money, but they don't got, you know, the credit, right? So they come to you, you create your own down payment because you're now the bank, and then you create your own monthly payments, right? And then they have what we call a balloon payment. So let's say, you know, they want to pay on the house. Let's say you got a 5-year term. So you got to pay on this house for 5 years. By that time, your credit and stuff should be right? And at the end of that 5 years, we have what we call a balloon payment, right? So a balloon payment is the whole amount that's left over is due in full. So the goal for them is by year 4 to go ahead, their credit should be right. So they should refinance and actually get a loan from the bank because they have good credit. So then you made all your money back plus some, and you made all that money over time of them paying you, right? And now they refinanced you out and boom. You know what I'm saying? You got all your money and you out of there. So that's another way. You can also seller finance cars. You can seller finance anything. Like it's a whole bunch of plays in real estate with land and stuff like that. Like you could seller finance land. So if you want to buy some land, let's say you got good credit, right? And you go to a land auction or you look on Zillow or whatever, and it's, you know, land for $5,000. Let's say the auction, $300, $5,000, $10,000, whatever you got on your card. Boom, pay that land off down. Let's say it's in a nice location. You could sell or finance that out, right, to somebody else, because you now own it. Now I'm the seller finance this land to somebody else, so they paying you monthly every month. Boom, 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 boom. And the dopest part about doing seller finance, which I didn't touch on, is let's say someone does buy from you seller finance, you now don't have to worry about them. Like if something breaks in the house, you don't got to go over there and run over there like a landlord because you're no longer a landlord. They own the house. Essentially, you still just got the deed of the house, right? So as they're paying you monthly, it's not like you move the tenant in there and then every time something breaks, you got to run over there. Nah, they own it, so they got to fix it. You know what I'm saying? So not only do you not have to worry about, you know, them breaking stuff and you got to run over there, you know what I'm saying? You just got the peace of mind. So it's a lot of plays, and that's what I tell y'all, like, you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know a lot of this stuff, you're going to be confused in life. There's ways to maneuver through life. A lot of times people don't even know about, they don't know about Swap-A-Lease. Swap-A-Lease.com is where you can go, and if somebody can afford the lease on their car, and let's say it's a dream car of yours, you could just hop right in that bug. You know what I'm saying? Just make the payments on it until the lease is up, or you could just throw that car on tour road and run that play. You know what I'm saying? And make money off of it during that lease period. You know what I'm saying? So it is millions and millions of plays, but if you don't get in position, you're gonna lose every time, y'all. And I want y'all to win, and that's my whole goal. So again, it's not just about Forex or binary options, because these are just vehicles, right? And I always say that it's just a vehicle to get you to the bigger picture of real wealth, right? I know you see the Q banks and all the other people that got the large profits, and that's just something you dream of, which is great. And some of y'all will do that. But for everybody, that's not the case. So you need other avenues to be able to maneuver through. And I told you, you can make millions of dollars just operating through life insurance or operating through credit, and be able to use that money to then either fund an account, you know what I'm saying, to make bigger profits. If you get really good at your trading, your skill set, and your money management, and your self-control and discipline, you'll be able to do that. Because then if you decided to borrow from the life insurance policy or the credit side or whatever, and you decide to leverage that in the trading account, and let's say you really know what you're doing, right? You really got it down, you really know your skill, and you can do that. You throw 100, 200,000 in there, and not only do you got content because you got 200,000 in your account, now you can make dope content, right? You don't even got to go crazy on the risk because it's 200,000 in there. You can risk 1%, you know what I'm saying, and still make real good money, you know what I'm saying? So it's a million and one plays with all this stuff that I'm telling y'all, man. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't know what you don't know, but you can know it if you just do the research. It's all out here for you. You know what I'm saying? I gave y'all so many different gems in this video, no cap. And I want y'all to use all of them, you know what I'm saying, to eat. But I only learned all this stuff because I'm constantly watching podcasts. I'm constantly taking notes. I'm constantly researching and doing, you know, my due diligence. And this is how I'm able to acquire so much information that I can now use to better my life, right? And this is what I was telling y'all. If I only operated out of credit, I could still live great. You know what I'm saying? This ain't financial advice. I don't tell people to do this, right? But if you have an asset like trading, right? Credit cards are like the credit card debt is no longer even a thing. Like I don't even use a debit card ever. And I'm telling you, I do this. I don't use a debit card. I only use credit. Operate out of my credit all day long. You know what I'm saying? And then because I have trading as a skill set that I can make money fast and pay it back, that's usually my goal. It's like, okay, I'm a spend this money, go on a trip, do whatever I need to do. I'm trading to pay it back quickly. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to operate. And I'm going to just say this. Most of the time on the credit card, I usually only take $1,000 off of it to $2,000, if that. You know what I'm saying? I don't take off, you know, $10,000, $15,000, although I could, you know what I'm saying? But I only take off stuff that I'm not going to pay back super quick. You know what I'm saying? And usually I'm comfortable with growing $1,000, $2,000. I can grow that up to $10,000, $20,000 like that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know what you're comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? Don't overextend yourself to the point where you can't get out of what you know what I'm saying? So that's all it is. Like learning these different lessons over time will make you a better person. But again, if you're at the bottom right now, rewatch this video a million times. I promise you, you will come up. You will come up, get your credit right, learn life insurance, learn it the right way, learn velocity banking, infinite banking, real estate, subject to all this stuff. Because a lot of people ain't got no money for, like, you got money where you're just not trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? You got the money, or you got money, you're not managing it right. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you got to fix, and you will fix it. You feel me? But it's your boy Jay Cash, man. Holla at the show. Boom.